I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gay, no, I ain't scamming, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't know those lavish delights, now you had no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardinellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by none other than Brittany the Shadow, as well as via the interwebs by a killer cast of none other than Brad Whitbeck and Luke Hansen. How you guys doing? Pretty good?
Pretty
All
good,
right.
yeah. Doing good.
And we got a lot to talk about today. Unfortunately, you know, I hate to see this happen, but Alex Clark here has decided to go after our fellow Latter-day Saint, none other than Ballerina Farm, a popular Mormon, not YouTuber, but social media star, and kind of do the whole anti-Mormon tropes online thing. She just did a YouTube video in which she basically went off on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its doctrine as a works-based faith, and kind of recycled a bunch of anti-Mormon tropes and pejoratives that have existed really since evangelicals started lying about us in the 1830s and 40s. Apparently, like a fine wine, it only gets better with time, and religious bigotry apparently only gets stronger with age. I don't know.
So who the heck is Alex Clark, and why do I care?
Oh, well, she's actually
she's
very popular in conservative circles. She has this show called Real Alex Clark, and she runs a show called Poplitics, like popular politics, all right? And she's kind of like, you know, PragerU and Fox News and all the legacy boomer media's attempt at being young and hip and cool. Because, I mean, let's look at her. I mean, if she weren't so bigoted, she would be gorgeous, right?
Well,
you know?
So is this just like an Allie Beth Stuckey 2.0 situation?
Well, I was going to say, unfortunately, it looks like, actually, I won't say it looks like, it basically is, yep, another Allie Beth Stuckey situation where they just can't help themselves. They recycle the tropes. And we're going to play this video, and you guys are going to get to opine. But when you first start listening to this, instead of putting Mormons in there, I just want you to think Jews. Like, she literally starts out and she starts saying, like, if you ever wonder why those people are so rich and so influential. And so like it starts out sounding like a 100% Jewish space lasers conspiracy theory. And it amazes me how blind their blind spot can be before they actually just like control themselves. So anyway, I'm going to finish the intro here by just pointing out that in my desire to fit in with conservative religious bigots like Allie Beth Stuckey and Alex Clark, I've worn my best Matt Walsh flannel, you know, and Brittany, am I pulling it off? Well, I dressed you today. Oh, whoops, wait, you're on a different mic. So hold on. There we go. Okay, now I got you on the right mic. I apologize.
Was that on purpose?
No, it was not on purpose.
Okay. No, I was going to say I dressed you today, so I actually really like your outfit.
Oh, you dressed
this is how people know this is live.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not wearing my t-shirt and my baseball cap. So anyway, all right, well, we're going to dive right in. And I saw that, Luke. Yes, I technically do have a t-shirt and a baseball cap on. Okay, but I have shrouded it in the mystery that is my Matt Walsh flannel. And actually,
if you wanted to go full Matt Walsh, you'd have to button it up
and grow a beard.
That's true.
Well,
that's
that
true.
too.
And I would have to speak in the bottom 30%, like all of the other trad cats, and just really lower my tenor. So
exactly.
Anyway, all right. Well, without any further ado, we don't want to bury the lead, so we're just going to jump right in and see what our homegirl, Alex Clark, had to say about one Ballerina Farm. Alex Clark, go.
Favorite Instagram bloggers are Mormon. Have you ever paid attention to that? It's very, very fascinating. Almost all of them are Mormon. Your favorite fashion bloggers, these people that have it all together, perfect outfits, perfect family.
Have you guys ever paid attention to, like, who runs the banks and, like, who runs Hollywood and, like, who, like, is in charge of SAG and AFTRA and, like,
oh boy,
all of, like the major cultural institutions in America? Like,
that doesn't sound great.
Yeah,
this is not off to a good start.
Yeah, this is not off to a good start. But we're gonna try it again just for fun. We're gonna start over again.
There's a monopoly. Almost all of your favorite Instagram bloggers are Mormon. Have you ever paid attention to that? It's very, very fascinating. Almost all of them are Mormon. Your favorite fashion bloggers, these people that have it all together, perfect outfits, perfect family, their kids are beautiful, they're so talented, they're posting recipes, how do they do it all? They have millions of followers, they're almost all Mormon. And there is a reason for that. LDS is a work-based religion. So, appearances are not just important, they are absolutely critical to their faith. Critical. When you are dealing with a works-based faith, you believe that your entire salvation is hinging on how perfect your life appears.
That is actually kind of new, I will say. I've never heard it from the angle that it all hinges on how perfect your life appears. Yep. That's a whole level, like a whole new level of superficiality added to this.
So, but don't you love, like,
that is.
So, I cut off the intro. We'll go back. We'll play it a little bit. But basically, she is attacking Ballerina Farm, a popular Instagrammer who married her husband in New York. He used to be a Wall Street guy. She used to be a Juilliard dancer. Believe it or not, guys, I've been on dates with Hannah is her real name when we were in New York. Now, just to clarify, it wasn't actually with her. It was a group date in which her and a bunch of her Juilliard roommates and stuff like that went out on, the town a couple of times because we were both in the same singles ward up in Manhattan. She's a great girl. She's super awesome, extremely talented, was a scholarshiped ballerina at Juilliard, hence the term Ballerina Farm. Now she works on a farm, but she was a ballerina in Juilliard. And it was actually, I have a very touching little anecdote to share really fast with her. I'd never been to Juilliard yet, despite having been in New York for over a year. And she didn't have a ton of family to visit her because, she's from Utah. She'd get parents and aunts and uncles coming in every once in a while. But, by way of New York, you don't travel out of Utah too often, right? So my very first ticket to go see a performance at Juilliard was actually Hannah dancing her final recital for her sophomore or junior recital at Juilliard. And it was phenomenal. One of the best dance performances I've ever seen in my life were all the Juilliard students. And she was one of them. So anyway, she meets her husband out there. They decide, hey, maybe the New York thing ain't for us. Let's buy a farm in Utah. And now she runs a very, very popular Instagram page called, Instagram profile called Ballerina Farm, where, dude, she sells meat that they grow. And they have cows and Australian shepherd dogs run around and they lose lambs and they find them. She's basically real life Instagramming a farm. And it's bothered a lot of ladies, and she's become in the spotlight now, which is what led Alex Clark to say what she said. So, first impressions, I'll go back and I'll rewind it. But guys, what were your first impressions of what one Alex Clark said about us and how she explained why Mormons are so good looking, having nothing to do with the word of wisdom, us actually putting our money where our mouth is and following our dietary codes and everything. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the Jewish conspiracy it has to do with the Mormon conspiracy of a works-based faith. What do you guys think? First impressions. You guys go.
So I'm a conservative, surprise, surprise. And Alex also is. I believe she's with Turning Point USA. And there's always been something that I didn't quite like about what she did, the way she presented stuff. It's probably partly because I'm a guy, and I just have sort of this internal bias of whenever you consistently are wearing more than 2 pounds of makeup, it just is a red flag. No, I'm not saying, this is not me saying that she
Are you talking about Allie Beth Stuckey, or are you talking about Alex Clark? Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that an unattractive, but I don't know. It's just a slight red flag to me when it's readily apparent you've spent that much time and money in a day on your own appearance. I'm just I don't know. It's just it's my generalized thing. However, that being said, I do also have a red flag for somebody who Instagrams their entire life and makes a whole business model around doing that. Okay. So I kind of red flags for both of them. It's probably just me being a guy, also not understanding this world whatsoever. But going to what she actually said, yes, I instantly thought of Allie Beth Stuckey in the episode that we did with her. And it's almost verbatim, although like Brad said, she added on the little extra there of it being purely about appearing nice to others. And that has got to just come from her interaction with members of the church on Instagram. And Instagram is a place where you try to look as good as possible for everybody else.
All right.
I think it's more common on Instagram instead of on what the church teaches.
So David King in the studio brings up too hot in the studio for flannel. Yes, we're in Southern California here, all right? And I want to fit in with Matt Walsh and all the Daily Wire guys, so I made sure I wore my flannel.
Put it on your shoulders and just tie it like a little yuppie, preppy person.
Okay, put it on my shoulders. So hold on. I want to fit in with the Romney elites in the conservative
And while you're
circles.
doing that, here, I'll read this super chat here.
Okay.
We've got Salgal says, Alex's Facebook group is how I found your channel.
What's funny? I don't know.
That's great.
That travels fast.
How did that work out?
Probably facial recognition, or else somebody, hey, dude, I got to tell you, there's plenty of conservatives there. The second we debunked Mike Winger, literally within 2 minutes, there was, of me putting the thumbnail up, there was a post in his Facebook group saying, they're talking about you on Ward Radio. So great. Hey, look, we can debunk these people to their face. That's great.
Okay, take off the
I just want to
flannel.
give you a first impression.
You say
on
take
this.
off the flannel, babe?
I don't like it like that.
Hey, well, before we go any farther, Brittany, I need you to jump in here and just explain to the audience that doesn't know who Ballerina Farm is, what she does, why you think she's gotten in a little bit of trouble lately, and then we're going to pivot to what Alex Clark said about her, and then actually debunk the tropes of works-based faith and all this other evangelical hatred we've had to deal with for 200 years. Brittany, go. What's Ballerina Farm's deal? We've got her mugs. We've bought the meat packs. The whole 9 yards.
Okay, that was a lot that you asked me to remember and talk about right now, so I'm just gonna spitball right now.
You're just gonna wing it, huh?
Yeah. No, Ballerina Farm. I actually followed her for many years, and I was a subscriber to her. I think it's called an Encore member. So I would buy like her meat subscriptions, and they would deliver a box with like dry ice and stuff. And
oh, nice.
it was really good meat. Like, I'm not a meat connoisseur. I don't actually eat a lot of meat, but Cardin does. What do you think? The meat was good?
Yeah, and I appreciated actually seeing where it came from on Instagram instead of like, going to the grocery store and just being like, how much of this is pink slime and rat tail?
Well, like, and when you go to the grocery store and like Trader Joe's, I'll buy like ground beef. I'll turn it over and it says like product of Australia. I'm like, ooh, like, I don't know. I don't like that. So with Ballerina Farm, I really like knowing where the meat came from, right? So her tagline, because she's Mrs. American, her tagline is know your food and know your farmer. And so I don't know, I was like a fellow hippie. I like that. So yeah, she has like, I think she just gave birth to her 8th kid. Is that on the screen right now?
Yeah, it's crazy. She's
like a boss.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I mean, she's literally like, it's not Miss Teen America.
No,
I mean,
she's Mrs. American. She was Mrs. Utah, and then she went on to Mrs. American, and I think she just won Mrs. American. And she competed, I think it was like 2 weeks after she gave birth to her 8th kid, and she's up there in a swimsuit. She said she was like still like recovering, like bleeding a little, like, and she's up there competing on like a world stage. Okay.
Oh, dang.
So, this is why it's making people angry, though, is because. So here, I'll introduce the two sides. Okay. You got one side where they're like, I mean, Candace Owens has talked about her, standing up for her, saying this is what real women do. Like, she's beautiful, she has kids, she homeschools, she runs a farm, she's like classic American beauty. Okay. Then you have the other side where they're like, this is not promoting healthy, realistic expectations. You're actually harming women thinking that they can achieve this. Your husband is the JetBlue founder's son, so she's worth $400 million now. Like, so everyone's like, that's not realistic for normal people.
So they're jealous, basically. Why can't you be ugly and overweight like me? Like, why can't you be broken like the rest of us? Why can't you be dirt poor? It's like when anti-Mormons go after us for how the church spends our tithing dollars, saying, why can't you be broken Q3 to Q4 like all the other government institutions are?
Okay, so yes. Okay. So there's some people that are just super jealous of her life, her money, her beauty, whatever you can call it. Okay. There's that jealous crowd. And she's been attacked by those jealous people. Then you have the people who are like, but she never told us that she was worth that much money. And she's on social media showing how to make recipes, how to make sourdough bread, how to homeschool your kids. But in reality, she has a tutor for her homeschooled kids. And this isn't like, we have to farm to survive. This is like, it's our hobby farm. Okay. So
question.
Yes.
So are you saying that she never said she had a tutor on Instagram?
I think
and she also never said she had that much money, and then she's just showing her life as if it's just a completely normal, attainable thing?
She's never divulged that they are very wealthy. Okay. She's never divulged that. She just shows that she shows cooking videos. She shows her farm life. I mean,
to be fair, just to glance at her Instagram, I don't think it takes a genius to figure out that they are definitely very wealthy.
She has a 500-acre farm in Heber. It's like, do we need the tax receipts of Kim Kardashian when she rolls up in a Lamborghini to say, you didn't disclose you were that wealthy? I thought you were Maserati wealthy.
I think it's more of like I think it's more of the giving the impression that if you just go get some cows and start
that
raising your children correctly and
yeah.
selling meat, that anybody can.
People are mad because
you get the wealth that way.
Okay.
Garden, listen.
Uh-huh.
I'm in charge here.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's giving off. What people are saying is that they feel slighted because she gave them the impression that they can go out and homestead and homeschool their kids, pull them out of public schools, and live a life, and that it's attainable. Then people found out, oh, you're actually married to the JetBlue's founder's son, and you're worth $400 million. That's not normal. That's not attainable. Most of us will never see that type of money. So she got slighted for that. Now, call it jealousy, call it envy, call it whatever you want. Those are the two sides.
Yeah, so I call it jealousy, I call it envy, and I think Hannah is freaking tough as rocks because there's videos of her giving birth in a bathtub with a midwife.
It's a home birth. Okay, and that brings up another thing, okay?
Eight home births?
8 home births.
Holy crap.
Yeah, her kids are all there in the room, like, I'm like super in
Look
awe.
at this.
Yeah.
Look, she's giving birth in a bathtub with her husband there.
And then she posted on social media. Like, I am not brave enough to post my births on social media, but she is. Props to her. Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, so people are feel slighted because she's showing unrealistic beauty standards postpartum. Okay. Let me say this. So she had home births. Most of us probably do not. I would generalize, most of us have hospital births, right? What do we have? We have epidurals. We have all these medications, right? She does not do that. So maybe the problem is that we're all used to hospital births, and that's actually not the best for us. And maybe we should all be maybe doing home births. I'm not giving anyone medical advice. Don't come at me. But maybe that's why she feels so good, and that's why she was able to go and compete, is because she is going back to the basics.
Yeah, and speaking of going back to the basics, let's just round here our corner. Let's round the corner back to what the lead was. And the lead was that Alex Clark literally made the claim that Ballerina Farm, okay, in just by all objective terms of beauty, a beautiful young woman who has 8 freaking kids and has a gorgeous family picture. Who wouldn't like to have that family picture, all right? That she has that family picture, not because of her, I don't know, hyper organic lifestyle in which she gives birth at home. It's not because of her hyper organic diet in which she's having weird orange smoothies that she makes from carrots from her own house. Oh, and it has nothing to do with the time and energy she puts into her traditional beauty standards. No, this comes from the demands of that high demand religion, Mormonism, that is works based. They're literally making the claim. Alex Clark is making the claim that Ballerina Farm literally thinks that her ticket to salvation, that her qualification for the atonement of Jesus Christ is based upon her being able to pull off this red cocktail gown. That is absolutely absurd on its face, but it is a trope that has persisted for 200 years. Where do I go wrong, Brad?
Oh, I don't think you do. It sounds like she maybe doesn't know any Mormons in real life. Like, does she not know any actual Latter-day Saint people? Does she think
later
that every
in the
single
video,
LDS person is like this on Instagram? Like,
later
not every
in the video she says, and I know, and I work with them, and they're probably not going to be happy I said this. So there's at least some level of knowing on a one-on-one basis.
So why not ask them before making a video like this that displays her aggressive ignorance of what we actually believe?
Well, because Allie already told her that.
Oh,
so why would
and Allie Beth Stuckey, who
need
knows
to go and
everything
ask?
about us. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
she did a whole thing with. Didn't you know that Lynn Wilder was in the church for 20 years, Brad?
Yes, I did.
She's
and
an expert.
Lynn Wilder drives me up the wall with how aggressively dumb she would have to be to actually believe what she's saying. If she actually believes that, I don't know what to say, but I think she's lying. Like, I don't think there's any way that you end up teaching at BYU and then come out saying the things she's saying. But we can get into that a different time.
Okay, so
and we already have actually done an episode.
We already
on
have,
that.
yes.
Here's my thing about Alex Clark. I think she says it before where you started the clip.
Okay.
But she starts out saying, they're Mormon. I'm not. I'm a Christian. So obviously she's differentiating, right? They're Mormon.
Good catch.
I'm a Christian. Okay. I tune out after that. These people don't make me angry, but I'm like, if you can't even get that correct, that Mormons are still Christian, I tune you out. The rest that you have to say, it's already done because the basics, the foundation is not there. So I don't care what you have to say, not being mean, but if you can't get that right, I tune in the rest of you out.
Hey, well, that's a good point. Let's go back and see it. Brittany, you bring up a really good point. Let's let her speak for herself and see how it went.
The nuance in anything. They don't look at the context around.
Oops, here we go. Sorry.
You cannot win. So you can't talk about how, me working out throughout my pregnancy allowed me to really, bounce back quickly, or I don't know. Okay. I don't freaking know. And also I'm not saying that like I'm going to be doing that. I don't even work out now. Let's be freaking real. I'm probably going to have whatever that's called. I already know. I am anticipating that if I ever get to have kids, that my stomach's going to do that thing. What's that thing called where your abs like pull apart and then the loose skin happens and all that? Cause you're so, you have like no ab muscles.
Diastasis recti.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, Brittany, you did all those exercises.
Yeah, I had it and I did the work and I pulled my abs back together.
Hey, yeah, and now you look gorgeous. Rock on. So you might have to be given tips to our religious bigot friend here, Alex Clark. She continues.
You're just like, they're not strong to begin with or whatever that's called, where your stomach just like falls apart. I think I'm probably going to have that. I can totally see that happening because I'm just so Gumby-like and not strong as it is. Anyway.
P.S. She's gonna fall in love with a Mormon boy and have to eat this podcast, guaranteed. Because there's no Chads left in regular North American Protestantism. They've all gone woke. They've all bent the knee to the woke scold mob, and the only people that haven't are Catholics. That women like Allie Beth Stuckey and Alex Clark have a problem with, and they say aren't Christian. They're pagans because of the intervention of the saints. Or she's gonna meet an alpha male or sigma male. Like returned missionary dude that's like trilingual from, I don't know, Western Europe or something. And he's going to be Mormon and she's not going to know what to do with herself and with the cognitive dissonance of hating them and saying, but they're not Christian. So anyway, let's let her rip on Ballerina Farm.
It's like I just don't know why can't she do that and show that and we just be like, that's great, that's good for you. She never said like all moms have to do this or else you're a terrible mother or your pregnancy was invalid or your postpartum experience is invalid. It's just it's like, man, so much of social media being invented has just ruined us. Ugh.
Which now
the other glaring warning.
Yeah, and you agree with that.
Here it comes.
And then there's a glaring warning.
She did just admit to jealousy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she goes back and forth where she's like, if you're offended by Hannah, then unfollow her. So like she defends her, but then she also is like, but I don't like her in so many words. Like, I don't know.
By the way, how stupid you have to be angry that literally Mrs. America was rich? That's news to you? The Miss Americas of this world marry billionaires? Like how is this news? That is social, that's intergender social relations 101.
I don't think she's mad at that. I'm saying
people in general.
Yeah, Ballerina Farm subscribers or followers are mad that they were not told that she was rich.
let's hear what Alex Clark has to say.
That women online are in a serious crisis. No one has media literacy. And what I mean by that is that people can't see the nuance in anything. They don't look at the context around anything that people post. And one of those things that I'm going to bring up is the fact that Ballerina Farm is a Mormon family. Now, this is where I'm going to anger some people in this segment here.
Wait.
Yeah, what?
I just want everyone to really, really deeply appreciate the irony of what she just said, juxtaposed with what she's about to say. Mm-hmm. Talking about media literacy and understanding what you're talking about here, right?
Uh-huh.
Now let me launch in and let's hear what she has to say.
And we're going to go over the scriptures that disprove her in a second. But yes, we will let her dig her own hole.
But I want you to please understand that my opinion on this is coming from the fact that I'm not Mormon. I am a Christian. So I'm going to see this
Yep, she had to.
That's where I was like, I'm done.
Than a Mormon would. And you're like, I don't understand why you would bring this up or what. this has to do with anything? Well, because it actually has to do with everything. Haven't you ever noticed or wondered why there's a monopoly, almost all of your favorite Instagram bloggers are Mormon? Have you ever paid attention to that? It's very, very fascinating. Almost all of them are Mormon. Your favorite fashion bloggers, these people that have it all together, perfect outfits, perfect family, their kids are beautiful, they're so talented, they're posting recipes. How do they do it all? They have millions of followers. They're almost all Mormon.
Does that or does that not sound like the beginning of a Daily Stormer rant against the success of those insular Jews? Like, does that, like, literally?
Well, Cardin, how would a person with media literacy not understand that?
Yeah, dude, seriously. I was just about to say, have you ever noticed that the people that own MGM and started MGM, and then the people that control, I don't know, name this app here, name this studio here, name this newspaper here. Like literally, this sounds like the flyers, the alt-right people, before they organize, Unite the Right events. This sounds like the arguments they make. Before we can really talk about white privilege, we need to talk about, like, what white is. And did you know 8 out of 10, did you ever notice that, like, 8 out of 10 millionaires in America that are white, or that's literally what the Groypers say. And this is literally
what's funny?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Maybe I should pull in a couple of super chats really fast.
Okay, pull in the super chat
just so we don't lose them.
Oh yeah, someone needs to welcome Candy Payne.
Oh, Brad.
Yeah.
I nominate Brad.
Welcome Candy Payne to the ward.
Okay, fine. We have received the records of Candy Payne into the Ward Radio Warship, the Ward Radio Wigwam, the Wormhole. All of those who would like to welcome Candy Payne here, please welcome Candy by putting a W in the chat. Candy, thank you very much for joining. And keep going with the super chats, Brad.
Next up, we got Scott. Did Cardin not get the memo that guys were supposed to wear an orange shirt?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I missed the memo.
A little more on the
We're
yellow
matching
side.
now.
Oh, I was like, I don't get it. And then I realized you guys are in orange shirts, so now I get it.
Or I thought it was because on the thumbnail of yesterday's video, I was in the bright high-vis shirt.
Oh, maybe.
I'm the only one that
fully
fits in because I've got both the blue background and the yellow-orange shirt.
Yeah, I see what you did there. What you did there. All right, Brad, keep going.
Now, aimed music. Alex is jealous, Alex is a jealous, money-hungry influencer who wants fame and does it by letting her anger out on others who are better than her. Wish her the best.
Ooh, that was savage. I don't know. Yeah. How do you define better than her? I don't know. Actually, I don't even want to. I don't feel comfortable meandering into those waters because, to me, by all objective measurable quantifiers, it's hard to argue with the beauty of Mrs. America. Like, the judges have kind of spoken. You know what I'm saying? And she's got 8 kids that are home births.
Okay, I want to read this.
That's one. Wonder Woman, like, written all over it. Brittany.
Okay.
Okay.
Shy Hodgson says, home births are the best. I had both, and home is way easier after delivery. That said, pelvic floor issues are a thing. Yes, they are. Rest after birth. Physio is money.
Okay, cool. Any others? By the way, if you guys have any opinions you want us to express, we do our best to read all of the super chats online. So please make sure that you hit us with a super chat while we're still live. Are there any more left, Brittany?
Mary
just
Nata?
one more from... Yeah,
Is that
you
the
got
one?
it.
I have a bigger problem with her broadcasting her children's lives online.
Oh, okay, yeah, but she also does live in the middle of nowhere. Like, if there was a safe place to broadcast your children's lives, it's on a farm in the middle of Montana, right? Well, she was in the next best thing.
I strongly agree with that one. I don't think it should be societally acceptable to put your kids online consistently. Especially when you have that big of a like, you just don't know.
So Ryan's Toys reviews would be what, legislated into oblivion by you? Or
no, I said societally.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I don't post about my kids online, like, at all, but I have cousins who growing up have broadcast stuff that they're doing together as a family, and it seems to have gone great for them. So, like, I think that if you do
it's mostly once you get a big following.
And they have they have a massive following, Luke. Like,
even I know, but I'm not saying it goes wrong in every single case.
Yeah.
But there's just an unnecessarily heightened risk that you don't need to introduce kids to.
Yeah, but you can also do the risk.
It could go to your head. It could go to their head. People with bad
well, yeah, but there's
intentions
been
could do
look. I work
things.
in Hollywood. There's been child actors that you have to deal with, and some of them it ends up being the best, most confident building experience they ever had, and they become great, wonderful, well-adjusted adults. Then there's always the psychopath parents who are vicariously living through their children the dreams that they were never able to realize in their youth, and they absolutely ruin their kids and steal all of their money. All right. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be a risk-reward analysis that has to be done by the parents, and it seems like they've made this risk-reward analysis and figured out that hey, we love broadcasting, that this is what we do, and that our whole family is involved, and you know what, we're all in, my kids are all in, they love it, nobody feels uncomfortable, and they're doing well and profiting by it, and like they got 8.7 million followers as of this recording.
Can an 8-year-old consent to that?
Well, can an 8-year-old Macaulay Culkin consent to Home Alone?
I think we're getting into the weeds on a different subject.
Yeah, that's a
than
different
the core
subject.
of this
Hey,
episode.
we are giving this super chat the consideration that it deserves here.
Those $5 went really far,
Nauta,
didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Making those $5 well worth it.
Okay, Brittany the Shadow, are there any other super chats? Keepers of the chats, are there any other super chats?
No, I think we're all caught up.
We're all caught up? Okay, cool. So let's let Alex Clark finish talking, and then we'll dive right into the scriptures. We've got Luke Hansen, pastor-in-chief here, who's going to lead us in the opening prayer. And no, I'm just kidding. Here we go. Alex Clark.
And there is a reason for that. LDS is a work-based religion. So appearances are not just important, they are absolutely critical to their faith. Critical. When you are dealing with a works-based faith, you believe that your entire salvation is hinging on how perfect your life appears.
Listen to that. She literally said, if you are LDS, you believe that your salvation, the free salvation that Christ paid on the cross for all, is hinging upon your physical looks. Now, first off, that's garbage. Second off, if it were true, holy crap, sign me up for that religion. Nothing but yoked guys and Miss America's walking around like, okay, awesome. Let me tell you, girlfriends and boyfriends, it ain't that way. And C, there's no way you could be as well-adjusted and successful and happy as Alex Clark said all of these significant and prominent social media stars are. There's no way you could be that happy, genuinely happy, if you actually were running around thinking, oh, if I don't look good enough, then I'm going to hell. Like, how stupid is that, Brad?
And also, I mean, she's not even portraying works-based religion correctly. That's not what a works-based religion is about. You know, like, it's not about appearances.
Okay.
It's about that you have to earn by doing the exact commandments, right?
Yeah. No,
like,
you're right.
I don't get her criticism. This is super weird.
Well,
I've never heard it
Isn't
said
it the
this
book
way.
of James, the faith and works, like it goes hand in hand? Like you need both?
Yeah.
Isn't that literally the Bible?
Yeah, literally. Actually, Luke, you know what?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Christian,
we've got a series
but,
of
you know.
scriptures here.
Yeah, why don't
Yes.
you just show us what the scriptures say about the difference between faith and works, my friend? We might as well just dive in right now. We've already heard what she has to say. Do you need time to look those up and I finish playing the clip? Or should
Nope, they're in the Discord right now.
Oh, we're
so
going to jump right into the Discord as we speak. Okay, so I'm in the Discord.
I've actually got it pulled up, so I can just start reading.
Start reading, my man.
So here we go, Luke chapter 12, verses 8 and 9. Also I say unto you, whoever shall confess me before men, him shall the Son of Man also confess before the angels of God. But he that denieth me before men shall be denied before the angels of God. So we have to be willing to bear our testimonies in front of people to go to heaven. John 15:10, if ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. Going a little bit later in John 15, verses 14 and 15, ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends.
Well, these all sound really works-based. Like, did Jesus Christ really say that if you love me, keep my commandments, do these works, these 10 works that I have given you?
He could have had a little pep talk with Paul beforehand to learn how to teach these principles properly, but
Yeah.
we'll give him a pass.
Oh man.
John 14:15, if ye love me, keep my commandments. John 14:21, he that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. John 15:10, if he keep my commandments, he shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments. And I did that one twice. Revelation 2:26, he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And a little bit later in Revelation 3:5, he that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot his name out of the book of life, but will confess his name before my Father and before the angels.
Yeah, what's the
and
one in
finally, to top off, Revelation 22:7, behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book.
Wow. So
that's just a little spattering that I was putting in my notes during this past year of Come Follow Me.
Wow. So I don't know why this is so hard for North American. Yeah, Brad?
Something I want to say about this is like what Luke is just outlining here from the Bible is still not a works-based theology. Right? He's talking about this not to say, yeah, see, a works-based theology is supported by the Bible. That's not what he's saying. What he is saying is, hey, when you actually do have faith in God, it's going to affect your behavior. Fancy that.
Yeah, and can you look up really quick, what's the verse where he says, if I show you my faith, you will see my works. If you show me your works, you will see my faith. If you could just really fast.
Yeah, and James.
Yeah, I know it's in James the Just's tome, my favorite, but I should have it memorized, and I don't. So if you could look that up, that'd be very helpful. But I don't get why this.
And while you're doing that, we could even do one more.
Oh, I have my favorite one on this, if I can share that. I have it right here in the chat, Carden, on Bible.com using the NLT Bible.
Okay. Did you put it in the Discord? No. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the Discord. If you click that, pull it up. I want people to look at this and see it. I want you to go to John 3, verse 16.
Okay, I'm there.
Scroll down to that for me.
Yep, I'm there. John 3 to 16.
Here at John 3:16, we've got, for this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. God sent his Son into the world not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. Now, this is one that I often hear quoted by Protestants who are saying, hey, see, you just have to believe, right? And then you have eternal life, right?
Yeah.
Now, I was studying this just the other day, and I want you to scroll all the way down to the end of the chapter, right? Just to verse 36 down there.
Okay, I'm down here at verse 36. Hit me.
And when you get there, can you read it for me?
Okay, so 36. And anyone who believes in God's Son has eternal life. Anyone who doesn't obey the Son will never experience eternal life, but remains under God's angry judgment. Oh, savage.
So, what does that sound like to you?
Anyone who believes in God's Son has eternal life. Anyone who doesn't obey the Son will never experience eternal life, but remains under God's angry judgment. It almost sounds like similar to most, games we play, institutions we participate in, societies we live in, that there's some basic rules. And if you don't follow those rules and you break those rules, you break ties with the good graces of those that are in charge of that society, or dare I say, that kingdom. Like the kingdom of heaven. And I'm glad you bring up the kingdom of heaven, because to me, that sounds an awful lot like the different degrees of glory that we have. Oh,
if you believe, you'll have eternal life. But if you don't obey, then you're going to partake of God's wrath, right? So, I don't know. That's an interesting thing that I found in this week. Like, this doesn't mean that we're sitting here espousing a works-based theology or an appearance-based theology, which I think is a new thing, that if Alex looked into it, she would recognize works-based theology isn't the appearance thing she's making it out to be. But we, as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are not a works-based faith. We are Christians who believe in God, who believe that Jesus Christ died for our sins, and that as part of taking part in the atonement and having faith in God, we will live our lives more righteously as we strive to be more like him.
Actually, you should just say more beautifully. Hey, babe, is this why you're so hot? Are you just like buying your way into heaven with those Louboutins you wear and like...
Well, you don't have to sell me out on a live like that.
The hot outfits and, Are you just like, one of God's premier angels just because you're so smoking hot? Like, should we kind of like just bend the knee and say...
You know what song I was raised on?
What song were you raised on?
Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that's...
So it's kind of along that,
I could see that. I could see that. So anyway, I don't know why this is so hard for North American Christianity to understand, okay? They've hated us for 200...
I think they do understand it, though.
Okay. Well, let me get this
when
example
they're not
out.
Talking about us.
I've tried to get this example out twice. Just let me get this example out really fast, and then I want to hear you say whether or not you think they are purposefully ignoring this or not. But ladies and gentlemen, throughout Scripture, there is a duality between faith and works. The Apostle Paul and James both came at this from different angles, and they both agree that if you have faith in God, it will be manifest through good works. And we are judged by our works. Else, why is there the book of life that is recorded in heaven? Why is this life a great test in which we are, judged upon our righteous acts, our works, okay? And just like you have two blades on a scissor that cut paper, just like you have two legs that you walk on and we're bipedal, faith and works both work hand in hand and cooperate as they always have and they always will. Anybody that says it's all faith is wrong. Okay? Even the woman who was so full of faith and had the issue of blood committed the very act of demonstrating that faith by reaching out and touching Christ's garment. And then he felt the virtue come out of him and said, where is my virtue gone? And looks around and says, thy faith hath made thee whole. But the act, just the very simple act and the work of reaching out and touching his cloak was still part of that equation. And sometimes it's 99% faith, 1% works. Sometimes, who knows? It's 10% works, 90% faith. All right? It depends on the person. It depends on the situation. But at the end of the day, they work hand in hand and they both manifest each other in a symbiotic relationship. This is a simple doctrine, but because they lost so many converts to Mormonism and continue to lose so many converts to Mormonism, just like they're jealous of Ballerina Farm and her beauty and her children and her rich billionaire husband, and they want to be able to sit in their flyover states and say, no, these people that are having fun in California and New York and Utah, it's because they're evil. It's because they're works-based. They just can't understand that there's two parts to this person. There's two parts to this scissors, okay? And no, we don't have some works-based faith where we believe you have to be hot to get into heaven. That's absolutely silly.
That would be easier.
Yeah, for some people it would. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know why they can't get this through their head. This has been a silly trope that I grew up in the shadow of John MacArthur's university with kids on my soccer team in my high school that would literally surround me while I'm eating lunch at high school to tell me why I'm going to hell, why Joseph Smith was a trigger, and why that you believe in works-based crap just like this. And no matter how many times you debunk it, they just refuse to listen. It's like Dave Chappelle when he says, like, they refuse to listen. So do you think that it is really ignorance, Luke? In your experience with all of these people, do you think it's just kind of naivete because they haven't met Mormons like Brad says? Or do you think it is purposeful negligence in the representation of their faith, similarly to how neo-Nazis purposefully misrepresent Jews?
Well, when you say it that way,
okay.
There's a video that I put in the Discord that shows the way that Christians address these topics when they're not telling people why a different faith is wrong.
Okay, so
this was our buddy Trent Horn. He went and found this for us because Catholics encountered the same problem about being a works-based religion and getting accused of that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So he went and found sort of I don't know what you'd call it, something that they'd show in seminary, the equivalent of seminary to Christians.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to play it right here and see what Trent Horn has to say. Trent Horn of the Council of Trent, my man, go. Oops, wait.
Is that his channel
But
name?
there is evidence.
Yeah. What'd you say?
That's awesome. I was just asking if that was his channel name. That's a great name.
Yeah, the Council of Trent. It is pretty awesome, isn't it? Okay, so here he goes.
Here is a typical youth ministry approach to the question that I found online.
But there is evidence. I'm a Christian.
Then where is it? If there was evidence supporting your claim, we would have it.
Here's what we have instead. January 15th of this year, you skipped church because you said you had a headache. Instead, according to our reports, you stayed home to play Fortnite with your friends. March 22nd, you decided a youth event wasn't as important as the new episode of The Bachelorette.
You couldn't be the only one at school who hadn't seen it.
By the way, just like all Christian movies, just somehow end up being super cringe. Is this going to be like a super cringy Christian skit or what?
Well, I mean, it already is.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay,
let's keep going. I don't know why you said is it going to be.
Let's keep going.
I understand. I would have done the same thing.
But just being able to tell us isn't good enough. You have to be able to show us something. Otherwise, it's just words.
An apple tree produces apples. That's how you know it's an apple tree. If you claim to be a Christian, we should be able to tell that by what you produce at all times.
But I'm guilty. I promise I'm guilty.
I know that you
There
think
you go.
that.
Okay, cool. So, explain away, Luke. What did I just see?
So what you were seeing was general Protestant, probably more evangelical Christianity, trying to instill it into the minds of, this is targeted towards young people, that to actually say you're a Christian, that has to be manifest by what you're doing. And so your life needs to be such that you could be convicted of being a Christian by a criminal prosecution. So that was the skit that they were playing there. Is the girl is trying to convince the investigators that she is guilty of being a Christian, and they're telling her we can't find any evidence of that. And so they have the same concept, the same, your appearances need to actually manifest what you're believing.
No wonder somebody
But
poured...
for some reason, they accuse us of doing that. So I don't know what in their mind is the big difference, but they clearly have the same messages in their circles.
Huh. Okay. All right. So do you think it's purposeful negligence that they keep recycling these tropes? Because at this point, there's no way... I don't know, we've had Jews for 3,000 years. Some of these stereotypes won't go away. So it's obviously purposeful negligence. It's not just a bunch of, I don't know, Sikh refugees just moved into town because there was political turmoil in the Middle East. And all of a sudden I'm learning about this new culture that I've never come in contact with before. Mormons are ubiquitous. We are in everything. In politics, in pop culture, in fashion, in design, in architecture. You can't launch a water balloon in any major city anywhere without it landing next to a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, okay? And we're very open about our faith online and in person. Do you think that this is purposeful misrepresentation or naivete?
All right, so you ready for me to be max diplomatic right now?
Yes.
I think it's a spectrum. I think there's a variety of people who have a variety of tensions and levels of knowledge that they should or should not be held to. But I also think that members of the church, despite being surrounded by Catholics and evangelicals and atheists, also sometimes aren't very good at articulating what those different faith groups believe as well. So,
and
there's your uber diplomatic answer to that question.
Is that just because you're in Turning Point too, and you are afraid you might bump into Alex Clark and you don't want her to remember you
I
and
can't get
say
fired for a live stream, man.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Not dying on that hill.
Okay, we have
Here's
some
what I will
super
say
chats,
in
too.
addition to what Luke just said. I think they take people at their word who know nothing about what they're talking about. People like Lynn Wilder and Allie Beth Stuckey. Those people know nothing about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so I think they need to do a little bit of a better job of actually listening to people who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and listening to what they think and believe and seeing if these people are Christian rather than just parroting the garbage that they heard from others.
Yeah, and Christian bookstores, I'm sorry, I have to, I lived next to one of the biggest Christian bookstores in Southern California, all growing up, because John MacArthur's seminary program was there. And you have to realize this is what it's like growing up next to John MacArthur's seminary program when you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, okay? When Prop 8 happened, we actually kind of had to post guards, being afraid of some of the violence and the retribution of, the LGBTQ lobby and so on and so forth, and a bunch of activists and protests that happen. Every once in a while, we get a First Amendment auditor that we have to call the cops on and so on and so forth. But the only other time we've ever had to stop meetings is when these people want to come and witness to their Mormon friends and basically interrupt a sacrament meeting, which is the equivalent of Mormon mass, for lack of a better term, okay, by witnessing as though they are, the Apostle Paul on Mars Hill. Brittany can attest to this. When we were newlyweds, we went to go looking for housing. And do you remember we were legitimately straight up just denied housing in an apartment complex that was predominantly young families that were up and coming pastors. When they found out that we were Mormon, they basically said, we don't want you to rent here.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't think you would be a good fit here because of your faith tradition. Like, I've literally been told by evangelical seminarians at John MacArthur's University that we don't want you in our apartment complex because you are Mormon. And then now I'm supposed to believe Alex Clark and her interpretation of Mormonism is based upon actually meeting Mormons? No, it's not. It's from all these books that come from their bookstores where they just lie and lie and lie and lie. And though they've been debunked millions and millions and millions and millions of times, they just lie and lie and lie. And that's why I have no respect for their fake divinity degrees, because no joke, at John MacArthur's University, okay, there's classes called Witnessing to Mormons. I've had friends who were guests on the show who would go and talk, and literally it was just like debunking year after year after year after year after year, these tropes that they would teach and teach and teach and teach and teach and teach. And it's like, at what point is it no longer Christian behavior? Like the first 2 or 3 years you're teaching a class on how to witness to Mormons, and you just recycle these tropes as part of the syllabus. Like, I don't mind correcting somebody in a debate with a professor in the class witnessing to Mormons the first couple of years. But by the time I've gone back 5 times like Ara Norwood did, and I'm having to debunk the same trope, what do you start realizing? That this is institutional, codified, anti-Mormon lies that are only spoken about that religion, which is what? The very definition of religious bigotry. So whether she's engaged in the religious bigotry herself out of spite or hatred, or whether she's just naive and spouting the religious bigotry out of naivete, it needs to stop, because all of these works-based religion, and if you're not hot, you don't get into heaven, is literally a cruel and pejorative trope that has lasted 200 years, and they just won't listen. So what can we do, Diplomat Luke and Diplomat Brad? You're Canadian, Brad.
Okay.
What could we do to get through them? And before you answer that question, we got to catch up on super chats, right, Brittany?
My finger's scrolling. We're gonna lose. So.
Okay, keepers of the chats. Keepers of the chats. Hit us up.
And I've got some extra ones backed up.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Runner guy with a sign says, home births are great. 2 of our 5 were born at home, and it was a way better experience than the hospital. Also, got the widow's mite. Thank you. I need to send a picture in. Where do I do that?
Oh, just put it on the Discord. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, go to wardradio.com and jump on in our Discord. You can post the pictures there. In fact, I'm going to pull up a picture of somebody else that posted that they received their widow's mite. Thank you very much for purchasing the widow's mite. It was a great contribution to the channel and a fun live stream. And I'm going to pull that up while you guys are finishing up the super chats. Keep going.
Carolyn Wright.
Oh, Carolyn Wright Gaines music.
She says, love my Ward Radio family. Be well, be happy, and don't be jealous of other people and their stuff.
Okay.
Based.
Yeah. Based. Don't be jealous of Ballerina Farm because she still fits into the same cocktail dress she had 8 kids ago.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
We need to welcome James.
Oh, we've received the records of one James, just like James the Just, into the Ward Radio Wigwam. Everybody who would like to welcome into the worldwide ward this James, please put a W in the chat. Thank you very much, James. Brittany, keep going.
I think that's it, unless I skipped one.
Okay.
Oh, no, you got them. There's
got
just
'em
2 more that popped in just now.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Scrolling.
And while she's pulling those up, Carden, we do actually have some memes. Before we get into the diplomacy, we should get into these memes that landed in our Discord.
Okay.
They're in the
Where
main
could
one.
they have
Scroll
possibly
up.
come from?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the first
Who
one.
knows? Who
Who could have sent those in?
I see a Starbucks. Explain this one to me, my man.
Start at that.
Okay.
And I think you should share all of these.
Okay, we'll share all of them. So here's the Church of Saint Starbucks. Okay, all right. Explain this one to our loving audience who may not be in the know, my friend.
I don't know. I don't get this one. I
Oh, you know what? You know what? Hold on. I think I get it.
What a crappy meme
Going back a little
if we
bit.
can't
Okay.
explain it. That's funny. Ben
So
Giles.
this was
I was figuring maybe you would know what it was.
Well, it's the
referring to.
patron saint. It's the patron saint of waking up in the morning, and so jokingly they're calling it the Church of Saint Starbucks because caffeine should be canonized in our society. You've never heard that? So I think it's called the Church of Saint Starbucks. Yes, like they've canonized Starbucks. Also, it's a joke because Mormons don't drink coffee. Okay, we also don't worship saints. Therefore, yeah, like this was like 3D chess memery, not like, you know, for the common people memery.
Gotcha.
We'll go on to the next one. Oh, geez, this one is bad. Eat, drink, and be meh. Saint Clark. Oh no, that is rough. That is rough. I actually think her makeup is beautiful, Luke, and I think you are mistaken. I very much appreciate that she took so much time.
No, I didn't.
To look so attractive.
It wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? And more people should do that. Here's another one from Christ teaching the Beatitudes. He says, repent, forgive others, keep my commandments. And then there's a heckler in the audience that is saying, that's work-based, but that's work-based. That is so true.
Oh, that's works-based. Yeah, correct Jesus, why don't you?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem that I have with these sola scriptura and sola fide. And, you know, this is the reason why Joseph Smith, like what Christ through Joseph Smith said, the creeds have become an abomination because they're separating man from God, and people are starting to worship the creeds more than they are God's. More than they are God Himself, and they become a stumbling block. They have become a golden calf, and people are literally rejecting the message of Christ in favor of the creeds that a bunch of monks in the 7th and 8th century voted on. So yeah. When Christ says, repent, forgive others, and keep my commandments, your only option, if you want to witness to heretics, would be to scream from the crowd, that's works-based. And, unfortunately, you'd end up being somebody that was heckling Jesus himself. Then here's another one. I got to make this one smaller because it's kind of big on the screen. Here we've got the classic... gosh, come on. You had a crush on this guy for a long time, Brittany. I forgot this artist name. This is so embarrassing. Drake, that was it.
Mm-hmm. He's Canadian.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. But anyway, he says the victimhood of the left is atrophying and self-destructive. And then he's happy to say Jesus wants you to sit around and do nothing. Yes, that's true. If it's all faith-based, and it's all sola fide, as they say, then unfortunately, are you literally just justified in sitting around and doing nothing? These are really good questions to ask through humorous memes on the internet. So, do you have any more?
Do you want me to say these super chats first?
Yes, bust out the super chats. Brittany.
Jason Gast says, hi. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hope you find your dad.
Obi-Wan says, grace/faith without works is like a car without gas, and you can't drive. It's a pretty good analogy.
Oh, I like that, yeah. Because, that's the thing that they always set up is like, it's a works-based thing. They don't even care about the grace of Christ. It's like, no. Guys, we recognize the necessity of grace and the works that should come as you strive to be like Jesus. That's not what's getting you into heaven. It's totally God's grace that's getting you there, right? Just like the gas doesn't get you to where you're going. It's the car. Yeah. Except, at the same time, though, I want to make sure that we're super clear that it's not like your works are fueling God's grace to even function, right? And so that's, I guess, where the analogy doesn't quite fit, but it's very close.
I think we get into trouble when we start acting like they're two completely different things.
Yeah.
They're like somewhat the same thing.
Yeah. I really like the way... I really like the way that Brad Wilcox put it. That it isn't about earning your way into heaven. It's about learning your way into heaven, right? That's the point of the gospel, is to learn and understand and grow and become better. Just like learning to play the piano, you're going to make mistakes as you go, but you rely on the grace of God to get there.
Okay. All right. Let's see if she has anything else to say. Let's see if she has anything.
Oh, we had some welcomings, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did I miss those?
Yes.
Okay, let's keep going.
Ben Giles gifted 5 Ward Radio memberships
Whoa.
to written the Speedy Emergency Management Associates.
Oh, that sounds like a very, very prepared LLC. Okay, apparently we got an ambulance company that just bought a membership. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
Diamond Dave.
All right, Diamond Dave's in town. Okay.
Ben the Rebel.
Sounds cool.
Thomas Peck.
What's up, bro Peck?
And Stanky.
Oh, we ain't going to say what Stanky is, but thank you, Stanky. All right, so you guys are all members of the Ward Radio Wigwam right now. Everybody that would like to welcome these new members.
WX5.
Yeah, WX5. Please put a WX5 in the chat and welcome all of these individuals. Glad to have you as part of the worldwide Ward Radio Wigwam. We're happy, and thank you very much for it was Ben Giles gifting 5 Ward Radio memberships. You go, Ben. Now, guys, also make sure you have to renew these memberships as well. Okay, Ben, he paid for your first month, but you got to make sure you renew them and put your payment information in so that you get all of the early access to our videos. We've got some really, really cool videos coming out. Like, for example, today we had Don Bradley's video on what the Liahona really looked like, and he explored what the first and second spindles look like. It's basically the Mormon Antikythera mechanism that took Lehi through the desert. And what's so awesome is everybody that says there's no archaeological proof of the Book of Mormon has never read the first 40 pages that actually take place in the Old World and investigated those claims and the amazing archaeological evidence that is coming out. Everything from the maps of Nahum to Ishmael's stele that was found in the desert in Yemen to the shipbuilding yards where Nephi would have made his ship despite there being a lack of natural wood in the region. There's just such amazing archaeology that's coming out supporting the Book of Mormon. You got to check it out. It is super fun and interesting. And me and Brad have both had the experience of being able to go to Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia in order to check that out. You know what? This is a tangent, but Brad, I do want you to share what was some of the most compelling evidence that you saw when we went to Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. Which one poked out in your mind where you just thought, wow, this is pretty incredible and there's no way Joseph Smith could have made it up?
Dude, one of the most interesting ones to me was also one of the most mundane.
Really?
And it was, it was like, as we were walking around Israel, as we were walking around Jerusalem itself, we get to this little portion in which just outside of Jerusalem, right outside of the walls, there are these caves. And when you read in First Nephi, it talks about how like Nephi and his brethren ran from Jerusalem and like ran from the wall and then hid in the cavity of a rock nearby, right?
Yeah.
And like they're right there. Like they're totally there. Like how would Joseph Smith have just randomly have guessed like, oh yeah, there's totally going to be caves like
they're
right nearby the walls of Jerusalem.
They're right at the base of Mount Zion, which is where all the wealthy elites lived in 600 BC. And that would have included the Sanhedrin. It would have included King Laban, who had the sword of Joshua, which was ended up being called the sword of Laban. And Joseph Smith, while translating the Book of Mormon, didn't know that Jerusalem was a walled city. So he could not have guessed the walls, nor could he have guessed the caves. And the crazy thing is the caves were still big enough for us to crawl into them. And they've only gone up probably about 7 or 8 feet due to the fact that that was an area where supposedly they put their trash back in the day. You know, it was like an ancient landfill or something. So, that was that was interesting. I do remember that. That was your number one thing. It wasn't.
Dude, that was so cool. Well, I mean, there's other stuff, but I mean, I think we've talked about more of the other stuff.
That's true. For me, it was Lehi's Well. I mean,
Lehi's Well was awesome.
There's no way. It's a 3-day journey in all directions. It's the only well. It predates Lehi by like 200 years, and it effectively had to have been a spot where a camel caravan of traders would have stopped if you were on your way from Jerusalem to the Red Sea. And it was kind of crazy. It was almost like hallowed ground. It's like, wow, this, like, he had to have been here. And it was still in use. The Bedouins were still sucking water out of it to that day.
Yeah, they had a hose running down into it.
There was like just like an old school Saudi hose just going into this 3,000 plus year old well. It was incredible. The things you can do in the old world. I absolutely loved it. There was just, I got to get back there. It was amazing. Anything, Brittany? Yes.
Well, I hate to be a downer, but I actually have to go in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, no. We are going to have to excuse from the Ward Radio Wigwam, Brittany the Shadow, and we also are going to have to excuse ourselves here in 21 minutes, guys. This live stream is going to be done. Actually, there's an outro of 2 minutes, so in 19 minutes we are out of here, guys. So if you have any last comments you guys want to be making, make sure you get them in here in the next 15 minutes. We're going to finish listening to what.
Do you want me to catch up on the super chats?
Catch up
before
on
I bounce, and then you guys do the rest?
Yes, Catch us up on the super chats if there's more left. Brittany, keep us to the chats.
Okay.
Go.
Polynike's 2000 says, being envious equals unjustified nonsense, but rationally despising a particular generation of sociopaths that ruined America is entirely justifiable.
Okay.
That was a lot.
That was a very complex sentence.
Yeah,
You might have to read that one again.
A lot of words to digest in that one.
It's tied into his next one.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Read his next one.
Well, first, Jason Gass says, Alex Clark, more like Sister Gast.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys married?
I don't know if he's saying she's aghast, like aghast, and that's a play on words.
Well, it was his last name.
It's his last name, so he says more like Sister Gast, so maybe they're married.
Ooh, savage. I don't know. I don't know if that's
Or
a
they would
compliment
like
to
to
his.
be.
Maybe he's saying that his
Maybe
wife
he
is
wants
attractive.
to be married to her.
Yeah, we don't know how to
that's what
interpret
it
that.
was.
Yeah, we don't know how to interpret that super
Yeah.
chat, my friend. If you could clarify. So, it's so sad. If she weren't so bigoted, Alex Clark would actually be quite lovely.
Oh,
I mean,
she is beautiful. You guys need to stop. She's pretty.
Yeah,
look,
no, she
I
is
have
pretty.
never said.
she's got the French tip nails.
Luke has not
going
said a
on.
word. It has all been Cardin. 100%
She's got the
on
leather
this.
jacket, she's got the French tip nails. She got her hair did, and she did her nails and all that other stuff. But just the bigotry, it ruins it. It's like when you see a woman smoking, like the hot chick at the party, and then
I
she
don't
picks
even
up.
know.
does ruin
I
things.
don't
it just
even know
ruins
if we
it.
should say bigotry, though. She's misled, misinformed. I like those.
Well, we
words
don't know if
better.
we haven't been able to establish if it's purposeful or not. I mean, she keeps recycling 200-year-old tropes.
Yes,
So maybe
that's
it's
why-
better to err on the side of mercy on that and say, rather than being a bigot, she's just repeating stuff that
I prefer rank
Oh man,
hypocrisy.
Cardin, I think everybody's turned against you.
I prefer rank hypocrisy, where I claim somebody's not Christ-like and then behave in an un-Christ-like manner myself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And Luke, her makeup is great. So there, you boys.
I did not. I explicitly said
Yeah.
that wasn't the problem.
Okay. Nicole Terry says, I have some Ward Radio specific memes I made to share in the Discord if you're interested. Post them.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's what Discord is for, baby. Do it.
Polynike's 2000 says, Cardin, which generation ruined America? I forgot.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Rhymes with Zoomer. But it's not the Zoomers, nor was it the millennials. I think it was the people that signed all those bad laws. And this is probably, hopefully, somewhere where me and Alex Clark would actually agree. I'm sorry, but the boomers stood on the shoulders of giants, and then they just decided to they're like Kronos that ate Zeus. You know what I'm saying? They just deferred all of their debt to their children, got rid of all of the protections that we'd spent the first century getting. Even Charlie Kirk calls it the three horsemen of the 90s apocalypse, the three laws that they got rid of, everything from fairness doctrine to the protections of the banks to the restrictions that were on loans and everything like that ultimately led to the crisis of 2008, in which they said, hey, well, all the young people in the working class can pay for all these bailouts. And then they allowed all of Obamacare to get passed where all the young people had to pay for the old people. And they said, this only put you behind another 5 or 6 years after we put you behind from all the bailouts another 5 or 6 years. And why 10 to 12 years later, when you guys are only just barely getting out of debt, are you failing to launch? Fast forward into 2019 when COVID happens, and then, oh no, there's old people out there that might be harmed by this. So you know what we're going to have to do? Lock down everything, give all of the money to the old people in the form of bailouts that are going to be paid for by the working class. And it was the first time in America's history where there was a transfer of wealth from the young to the old. Before COVID, millennials controlled 19%, 18% of America's economy. Post-COVID, they controlled only 8%, and 4.5% of that is Mark Zuckerberg. We literally lost over a 10% market share in America's economy as a direct payment to boomers, just straight to boomers. So Obamacare was a direct payment to boomers, bailouts, a direct payment to boomers. I'm telling you, Polly-Nikes,
Hey,
that's the way it is, bro.
Now you've done it. I'm going to block you.
No.
I'm not going to read your super chats anymore.
That's funny.
Okay,
done.
welcome Gary Fails. And
Oh, I'm sorry. I fell asleep during the boomer rant. Is it over?
Okay, we're welcoming Gary Fails, Endure and All, and Scrappin' Grandma.
Okay.
Welcome. WX3.
All right, sweet. We got 3 new members. Welcome these people into the chat. WX.
Okay, and then Pale Horse Ride-In Boomer says,
Uh-huh.
running guy with a sign lives. Saw him spreading his good works this past Saturday morning. Watching him run on the road holding that sign above his head takes great faith.
Oh,
Sweet.
do you know who this is, guys?
No.
Yeah, there's a dude that runs around with this sign that says, "I believe in you." Like while
yes, he said that on a live stream or something. I saw, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, "I believe in you," running guy. And people like take pictures of him just randomly where they see him. I think, does he run around Salt Lake City? Yeah, here it is. This guy right here. Motivational signs. This dude literally just runs around. Here's a Fox 13 video. I don't want it to blow out our ears, so hold on a second. A Utah man who runs around with motivational signs inspires others to do the same. And here's the video of him running around. Let's see if I can mute it here for a second so you can.
The future of protein is.
Oh, well, yeah, we're definitely not watching the future of protein. But yeah, here it says, Eagle Mountain, Utah. Utah man is running hundreds of miles with a sign to spread joy to his neighbors. Along the way, he inspires people to bring a smile to others' faces. Ben Line is the runner guy with a sign in Eagle Mountain. On Saturday morning, people lined the side of the road by Corey Ride Memorial Park, holding signs with more motivational messages like, "I believe in you, it's going to be okay, you rock," and others. And so, yeah, dude, look at this guy.
Is this the guy who gave us a super chat earlier today?
He's given us multiple super chats. Yeah, look at this cat right here. It's kind of cool. I'm going to see if I can make this full screen. Is it playing? Oh no, it's not playing.
Dude, that's awesome.
Oh,
that's so cool that he's doing this.
Yeah, you know what? The Fox 13 servers must be down. Let me go back and I'm going to show a picture of this so our audience can see it. But here's the guy. He literally runs around with a sign that just says, "I believe in you." Check that out right there. How wholesome is that? Man decides to spread hope on his morning jog. What he does ends up saving lives. And yeah, here the guy is. Look, he literally just run around with a sign that says, "I believe in you." How rad is that? Yeah. That's like back to basics because the basics are good. I dig it. All right, keep us up on super chats. Brittany.
Okay, then I literally got to bounce. So.
Okay, cool. Do it.
Okay, Fidget the Crazy says, watch as 19 minutes turns into 2 hours. That's why I'm leaving, Fidget. That's why I'm leaving.
Savage.
Okay, Pale Horse Right and Boomer says,
do you want your per diem?
By the way, with all the W's, are we soon to become steak radio?
Oh,
maybe so.
That's a very good point.
James says you can claim super chats as a deduction to tithable money, FYI.
Oh, that's true. We're not quite a 501c3 yet, but I think in spirit, I wouldn't necessarily call it a tithe as much as an indulgence. You're free to go sin. And if you pay $20, then, you know, I think law of chastity on the table. $100, murder? You know? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, they're not indulgences. We do not endorse that, but it's really funny to act like we do. So keep going, Brittany.
I think that Polly Nike's.
Another one.
I don't know if I want to read Polly Nike's. Give me a boom.
Wait. We got to welcome. Did we get Gary Fales and Scrappin' Grandma?
Oh, yeah. I did WX3 on that one.
Oh, perfect. Good,
yeah.
Good.
Polly Nike's 2000 says, FYI, I pay good money to hear Cardin's rants about boomers destroying America. It's a primary driver of my using Ward radio segments in bishopric meetings.
That's awesome, man.
I'm sure that's very productive.
I'm happy for you.
Okay, Polly Nikes, I want video proof that you have used Ward Radio in bishopric meetings. I want video proof. Speaking of proofs, guys, I actually have a picture. I don't know who this was, but somebody actually posted an image of them having received their widow's mite in the Discord. Now, before I actually show this, we'd like to excuse Brittany the Shadow. She is now gone, so I guess, Brad, you're going to have to help me read these super chats. She's doing her due diligence, picking our son up from his theatrical production. It's really fun, but BHE, Beverly Hills Elementary School, is actually doing a production of The Wizard of Oz, and he was chosen to be a flying monkey. So he actually gets to go along the auditorium down by UCLA that's got this rigging, you know, and he gets to capture Wendy. Is her name Wendy? Who's
oh gosh,
who's the Wizard of Oz chick? I forgot. Julie Garland. What role
Dorothy,
did she play?
Dude.
Dorothy. That was it. Dorothy.
You were a theater kid. Come on.
Oh, no, Wendy is Peter Pan.
You know this.
Peter Pan is Wendy. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
I should know. My mother's name was Wendy. So anyway, Jonah Barnes, the ward clerk, put this in the Discord, but he didn't include a name. Dang it. Who are you? This is the first picture we have from a Ward Radio member who's received a widow's mite size Roman bronze coins. Great picture, by the way. It looks almost like a early 2000s dating profile pic. It's pretty awesome. But it's here in the Ward Radio Wigwam, and he's got it. So, dude, this is awesome. I got to know who this is so we could do a highlight. If anybody recognizes who this is in the Ward Radio family, please put it in either the Discord right now, or if you can.
Jonah says he omitted the name for privacy reasons.
Oh, he omitted the name for privacy reasons. Okay, that's the reason why. Well, here he is getting blasted all over the internet as the first person to receive a Ward Radio Widow's Mite. So, Widow's Mite size coin. He got the Widow's Mite size coin. Kathleen Wrights Gaines music, as well as Schmau, and as well as Karen actually got legitimate Judean prutas or half prutas, which many biblical archaeologists believe are indeed the widow's mite that Jesus Christ spoke about in the New Testament. All right, keep going. We've only got 7 minutes left, my man. Let's finish letting Alex...
Was there anything else with Alex?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm letting her finish, say what she was saying about Mormons going to hell unless they're hot.
So, I believe that this is an extremely important piece of the puzzle here when we talk about content from this family. They are only going to post and show kids behaving, cute moments, fun moments. There will never be anything purposefully showed anyway, because sometimes things are offensive, just like the pageant thing. Things can be offensive or whatever that you can't anticipate, but there will never be anything purposely showed with the goal of looking relatable.
So if you don't post your ugly, ad nauseum on the internet, Alex Clark doesn't think you're a true Christian.
Is she unfamiliar with the vast majority of Instagram influencers? I feel like this rant is more directed at Instagram influencers in general than it is at the LDS people in the world. That's super weird.
Miranda Lambert literally said this in her song, "This Ain't Your Mama's Broken Heart." Her mama's saying, you gotta hide your crazy and start acting like a lady. Yeah, if you hide your crazy on Instagram, it's not for fear of losing your salvation. It's because maybe you're just acting like a lady. Is Miranda Lambert, is she condemned or is she saved? Because
secretly LDS. That's what that's really about.
That's true. So anyway, let's let...
Because only LDS people do that because of their evil works-based faith, which...
Kim Kardashian, who has almost no pictures of her without makeup on the internet, totally saved. Her salvation is utterly assured. She's one step away from the second anointing. I mean, she's almost translated like Moses, from the top of the mount, because she just looks beautiful all the time, according to the logic presented by real Alex Clark.
Christian women, especially if you feel yourself being bent out of shape because of Ballerina Farm or any other Mormon influencer, you really need to take a step back and make sure that we are not holding ourselves to their standards or comparing ourselves to them at all.
Literally, for the crime of having an attractive family and winning some awards as Miss America, Alex Clark is warning other women against her content because it might bend them out of shape.
Look, here is the thing. I think I can see where she's coming from if she were to say, hey, don't feel so much pressure to have your life look like the lives in Instagram influencers feeds, right?
Which is the media literacy she talked about at the beginning of her video.
And that's totally reasonable to say about Instagram influencers in general. But she is diagnosing this thing as if this is somehow uniquely an LDS thing. Like that, I don't know, it robs her message for me. Like that, her audience needs to know, hey, don't give yourself unrealistic standards based on the things, only the pictures you see on Instagram, right? Like that remains true whether someone is LDS or not.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're so Christian, Alex, so Christian that you're willing to condemn other Christians' doctrine and biblical and scriptural interpretations, why did you even do your makeup? If this is all just to bend yourself into shape to look good, first off, by what standards are you saying you look good? And second off, how dare you look so good? If you're a good Christian, should you not? Shouldn't we be posting our ugly? Like we said before, how dare you do your makeup? Like there's no logical conclusion to these claims that makes sense and carries water. I mean, I don't know. So unfortunately, we're coming up on the end here. I'll see if I can't post the link to this in the description, so anybody that feels like we took Alex Clark out of context can watch the whole entire thing, because we never want to do that. But unfortunately, time is not on our side. I just still want to know, do you answer the diplomacy question? Like, how can you make this go away? Do you think we just got to buckle up for another 2,700 years of this, like Jewish tropes? Or
here's the thing.
What?
It's got to be conversations. It's got to be as many one-on-one conversations as you can get. Alex, if you can come on our show and talk to us about what LDS people believe, we will tell you what we actually believe, rather than you parroting whatever Allie Beth Stuckey told you and then looking kind of uninformed. It makes me question everything else you have to say if you're going to parrot this bad of stuff about the religion that I live. So, gladly, we would happily have you on the show to talk about it. Talk about our beliefs, talk about yours, and see what we can do to, it seems to me like you're concerned about your audience and helping them live their lives in a way that they're not going to be holding themselves to unrealistic standards and being depressed because they're not matching the idealized thing that they're seeing on Instagram, right? We're with you on that. We want to help people live a happy life. We believe that the gospel is a way of happiness, right? So, I think we should build on common ground. And I think that if every Protestant understood just how much common ground we have, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, that's true. But they would have to stop saying that we're not Christians before we can actually do that, right? So
I don't even care. I don't care. Like, why would I care what they say when I know that God knows I'm a Christian?
Yeah.
They can call me non-Christian all that they want, and it's never going to bug me.
Well, if we do want to be the salt that gives savor to the plate, then, I think we have to get along with the other Christians. But we've reached a point where it's like all scripture, as the New Testament says, is good for censure, correction, uplifting, so on and so forth. Like we need to scripturally correct these people that keep using these tropes. Who was that pastor that said evangelicals owe Mormons an apology for their superfluous misrepresentations of their doctrines? You should actually look that up. Like 12 or 13 years ago, a prominent pastor actually came out and says, I think as evangelicals, we owe Mormons an apology. Do you know who this was, Luke?
The name doesn't come off the top of my head, but guess what caused them to say that, Brad? One-on-one conversations with members of the church.
Yeah. And Paulie Nikes just said we should arrange a meetup between Alex Clark and Jeffrey R. Holland. Oh, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' kind great uncle / grandfather could convince anybody of the truthfulness of the gospel, if not just through his niceness and kindness. And Jonah Barnes says, just more proof that LDS women are the most beautiful. Sorry, not sorry. Tough luck, Alex. It's true.
So mean.
It's true. No, we're just saying that Mormon chicks are the hottest and the hottest in the planet. There's nothing wrong with saying Mormon chicks are the best looking, And besides, she's winning Mrs. America. So I think, I don't know. The judges have spoken. Look, I'm just saying the judges have spoken, right? And so is Jonah Barnes with his super chat. And I will defend my boy Jonah to the mat. So anyway, 1 more minute left. What do you guys want to say before we get out of here? Luke, where can people find you, my man?
I have put up the new YouTube channel that I was working on. I have the video. I need to post this thing. Getting everything started up is a little harder than it initially looks like, but it is Zion's Camper. It's up there. It will have a video in the next day or two that's already recorded, but you can subscribe to it right now and see that when it comes out. It's a a Latter-day Saint who converted to Catholicism in his 20s. And we have a discussion on the similarities and differences between the religions. So That's coming up in the next day or two.
Okay. And then I'm going to read this super chat. And then Brad, where can people find you? Jonathan says, in general, people are enjoying becoming addicted to being offended. It's the hallmark of our day in so many areas of society. Yeah, being offended or maybe just getting it wrong. So I think in this case she got it wrong. Hopefully it was out of naivete and not out of malice, but I don't know. I look out the field of play between Mike Winger and Jeff Durbin and Apologia Studios and the Calvinists on the right to the woke scold evangelicals on the left. They all got one thing in common. They keep repeating these silly anti-Mormon tropes that are not based neither in our scripture or in the reality of our practice. And I've debunked them enough in so many public ways that just me thinks that at this point they're just doing it on purpose. I don't know. I don't see upon the heart. I am not God, so I reserve judgment. But I got to tell you, I think, I don't know. I think it's unchristian to say the least. Brad, go. Take us home.
Oh, did we get the Jonathan Adams super chat?
Yep, I just read that one. Yes.
You did. Perfect. Sorry, I was reading through the chat for a second.
Yeah, you were catching up. You were catching up.
If anyone wants to find me, I am at Braderico on like every social media platform. And if you guys want to spend your time doing something other than talk about this garbage, if you're fantasy fans, my wife and I have written a book. It's called The Skystone Chronicles. I think Cardin has a copy in his studio.
I'm going to find it. Keep talking.
We wrote it under a pen name, Blake and Raven Penn. So if you look it up, it's The Skystone Chronicles. Book 1 is Dragon Thief. And it's a lot of fun. We'd love to hear what you guys think of it. It's a super fun book. And I think we're just trying to put out more positive content, kind of like the sign runner guy. What's his name precisely?
It was running with a sign.
Guy running with a sign.
Yeah,
kind of like that. We're just trying to put out more positive content.
Runner
into the
guy
world.
with a sign.
Yeah, runner guy with a sign. We're trying to put out more positive content into the world because so much of it is so focused on being aggressively angry at one another and just being offended at any possible turn and then never forgiving anyone, that we want to put out something in there that's good.
Now, speaking, just two more super chats before we go. Polynikis says, what happened to the second half of my previous super chat? Yeah, well, some people may not understand the joke and the play on words that are not in the know, that are the uninitiated, my friend. So, I took that one down briefly. And then Michael Kunkel says, any chance you caught nerdrotic talk about Mormons?
Yes.
Are there going to be some clips coming soon here, Luke?
Yes, and if the three of us want to stay on, we could record a quick cup of Cardin about it for...
Okay, cool.
We should, because I love Shad.
Just like a short... Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
I love Shad, dude.
Okay, awesome. And then I'm just going to put on the screen a hilarious comment that I saw. Guys, it wasn't just us that had a problem with what Alex just said. Like, it is literally just... this mom looks amazing. Good for her being healthy, wealthy, and hardworking. For me personally, I think the backlash comes from envy and jealousy. And this girl right here, I don't think she watches our show, but her YouTube username is 89fall, and she said the most savage comment that I loved. She said, I'm so glad I learned today that my salvation relies on how many people I bring into my church. As a member of the LDS church my whole life, I never knew this. Thank you. Also, I better get on that color coordinated outfit thing for my kids ASAP. I just didn't know I was supposed to be perfect. I guess I am just on Satan's team for trying to be a better person. Who knew? I always thought my salvation was through Jesus, but apparently it's only on my surface appearance. What a day. In all seriousness, I wish one of you wonderful Christian ladies, referring to all the Christian ladies in the chat. All right. She said, I wish one of you wonderful Christian ladies would sit down with a regular Mormon and have a legit, honest conversation about our beliefs. It would be nice, to know that you are not condemning a whole group of people for holding slightly different views than you. You literally just had a tirade about libs doing this, yet here you are spewing the same exact action against members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Talk to a normal, non-Utah, non-influencer Mormon, and you might find out that we actually don't have horns and a tail, which, by the way, was another trope that existed all the way up until the 90s. I had a kid on the bus literally ask me if I had horns.
Oh, dang.
These are the reasons why, like, Rage Against the Machine said you have to fight for your right to party against the Christian right, because they come up with this crap. You know what I'm saying? They come up with this crap, and I don't know. It's crazy. So anyway, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. It's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. As always, for this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com.